so they pretty much block out our view. He had a beautiful view 5 or 6 miles south of the city of Poughkeepsie. If you do go to Vanderbilt, you don't even have to get out of your car. You drive right through the grounds, and you'll get beautiful views. Now I want to welcome you folks to Springwood, and here I'd like to continue the president's timeline. 1900 I had left off. He was attending Harvard, and he does graduate from Harvard with a degree in history. After Harvard, Columbia Law School, he'll start practicing law after that down in New York City. And Franklin Roosevelt will quickly realize he doesn't want to be a lawyer for the rest of his life. So he's going to change occupations, folks. He's going to start emulating an older fifth cousin, a gentleman by the name of Theodore Roosevelt. FDR will get into politics right here out of Dutchess County, 1910. He's going to run for and win a New York State Senate seat, and he's going to hold that seat until 1913, when President Woodrow Wilson will appoint Franklin to become the youngest Assistant Secretary of the Navy in United States history. You're going to see the President's love for the Navy when you get inside the home. All over the walls, we have naval prints, paintings, lithographs. What you're seeing on the wall inside, a small portion of the President's over 2,000 prints and paintings. He liked to collect things. War of 1812 and American Revolution is primarily what you're going to see inside the home. After Assistant Secretary of the Navy, folks, he is going to resign 1920 to run unsuccessfully for the Vice Presidency of the United States. He'll lose to Harding and Coolidge. It was a landslide defeat. It was one of the worst in presidential history. Franklin Roosevelt is not deterred by this because he now has something he's always wanted, and that was national labor recognition. So in the summer of 1921, he's going to take a little time off. He's going to spend some quality time with his family. And he wants to do that at their summer home in New Brunswick, Canada, a place called Camp Abella. The president will send his family on up ahead of himself because he had a few stops to make. Folks, one of those stops is 40 miles south of here, a place called Bear Mountain State Park. The president is going there to visit the Boy Scouts during their yearly jamboree, and it is there, ladies and gentlemen, we believe he will come into contact with the polio virus. We're not sure if it's water he drank or just a close proximity to the young men there, but we do believe that is where the virus enters his system. Now FDR will come home to Springwood. He's here for a little while, packing up, going over some paperwork he needed to attend to. Eventually he gets up to Camp Abella, he'll greet the family, and he's going to enjoy an action-packed day with them. Sailing, swimming, running sometimes. He gets back to the house at Camp Abella, and he's now complaining of an overall malaise, specifically leg weakness and leg soreness. Keep in mind, in 1921, Franklin Delano Roosevelt is only 39 years old. He's incredibly fit, incredibly active. This type of activity level is nothing new to him, so he knows something might be wrong. He lets everyone know he's retiring early for the evening. He's hoping a full night's rest will have him feeling reinvigorated the next morning. Well, little does Franklin know as he walks up the stairs to go to bed that evening that that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. That is the very last time in his entire life that he will walk without the use of an aid. Imagine that. The next morning you wake up, you're paralyzed from the waist down, you have no clue why. A couple more mornings go by, Franklin wakes up, he's now paralyzed from the chest down, folks. He couldn't move his arms, he couldn't move his legs. He's in incredible amounts of pain. He can't even have a sheet on his legs. It would cause him to scream out in agony. He loses all control of his bodily functions. His legs will contract to the point where they had to put wedges behind his knees to straighten them back out and get them into plaster casts. So he had a pretty tough go of it. He was lucky in one regard, folks. His diaphragm wasn't affected. If it had been, he probably would have died at Camp Abella because the nearest iron lung was quite a distance away. So he was very lucky in that regard. Now, most Americans, folks, they knew that Franklin was suffering from polio. The secret was they didn't know the extent of it. They truly didn't know he couldn't walk. Most Americans did not know that Franklin Roosevelt couldn't walk during this time period. And today, a lot of people don't realize that initially, he was paralyzed from the chest down. Now, from 1921 to 28, he's out of the public eye, building up his strength. He will regain full control over his upper body. He never regains control of the use of his legs. 1928, he's feeling strong enough to get back into the world of politics. And again, folks, he follows in Teddy's footsteps. He's going to run for the governorship of New York State in 1928. He'll win. 1932 rolls around. FDR was very active as governor. New York State was the most populous state in the Union at the time, so it just made sense for him to run for the presidency in 32. He will do so. He is victorious, reelected 36, 40, and 44. Again, the only president to have been elected 4 times, and the only president for the foreseeable future to be elected more than twice. And that's thanks to the 22nd Amendment to the Constitution, which is ratified in 1951 during Truman's administration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's only 83 days into the president's 4th and final term. He's down in Warm Springs, Georgia. He's having a portrait of himself painted. He's sitting in his chair. He'll reach up, grab the back of his neck, and say, "I have a terrific headache." The president then slumps over in his chair. His Secret Service detail rushes him to his bedroom, and it's a few hours later at 3:35 in the afternoon on April 12th of 1945 that the 32nd President of the United States of America will be declared dead from a massive stroke. The President will be brought home to Hyde Park, folks, just 3 days later, and he's going to be laid to rest just behind you down that narrow path in his mother's rose garden. Now, I don't take groups through the rose garden because it is a final resting place, but please feel free after the tour, go on inside, pay your respects, take all the photos you'd like. The president is buried just in front of the large Vermont marble stone that weighs 14 tons. His grave is marked with an American flag, and Eleanor is buried just a few feet in front of him. The president's mother, his father, grandparents, and 4 of his 6 children. They're buried just 2 miles north of here at the St. James Episcopal Church, which is just across the street from the Vanderbilt Mansion, if you ever wanted to check that out. They don't mind people going back there. You might actually have someone come out and talk to you. Now, before we get in, I want to briefly talk to you about the exterior of the home, the rules, and then I'll get you in to see what you actually came to see. Now, I had mentioned Mr. James purchased a 17-room, 2-bath farmhouse. That's not what we have going on here. In 1915, ladies and gentlemen, the president will add on to that farmhouse. He adds a 3rd floor and the fieldstone additions. We can't get to that 3rd floor. It's a fire safety issue, but on the 2nd floor, you'll see photos showing you what the 3rd looked like. That's where the Roosevelt children would have stayed. We're now 35 rooms, 9.5 baths, about 14,000 square feet. The north end, that was the servants' wing. We don't explore that. Not much to see over there. 8 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, usually only 6 servants in the home. They each had their own room, which was pretty rare for the time period. 1st floor is the kitchen. South end, we will be able to explore that. 2nd floor, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to see at the end of the hallway, there's a long mirror there. That mirror was placed there by the Secret Service so they could see around the corner. And once you round the corner, you're going to hit the president's bedroom, Eleanor's bedroom, and Mother Sarah's bedroom, all on that 2nd floor, south end. Very little privacy, folks. The 1st floor, the president's personal library. Over 4,400 books remain. You're going to be walking out on a glass viewing platform when you get into the library. Before you reach the glass, look to your left. You'll see 2 portraits. Those are the president's parents. And when you get on the glass, look through it. You're going to see a ramp below that glass. That is how the president wheeled down into that space, because there's a couple stairs he had to navigate, and he's going to be in his wheelchair more often than not here. You're also going to see an original wheelchair in that space. It's a custom wheelchair. It's a kitchen chair that the staff sawed the legs off of, and they added the wheels to that. And that is because wheelchairs of this time period were very big, they were very bulky, made out of bamboo or wicker. No hiding the fact that it's a wheelchair. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. Hide the fact that the man can't walk, because during this time period, folks, if you have a physical disability, the vast majority of Americans truly believed you had a mental deficiency or disability as well. And FDR cannot risk that running for public office. Now, just a few rules before we go in. Folks, we are incredibly lucky here. We are 90% original. You're truly stepping into a time capsule. We did not add anything to the home. It is how it was from 1939 on. We added a couple fold-out chairs that you can sit in as you enter to your right, but that's really it. So please do not touch or lean on anything in the home, folks. That includes the doorways. Please just be aware of your surroundings. Take all of the photographs you'd like, just no flash while inside. It is dark. It's dark on purpose for preservation reasons. The only beverage allowed inside is water. It must be able to be sealed up. Anything else has to stay outside. If you have a backpack or large purse, we ask that you carry that towards your front. Please silence your cell phones. I don't mind if you're texting, Googling. Please just don't answer the phone. If you do, I ask that you step out the front door. And the last rule, I hate bringing this up, especially with adults, but if you are chewing gum, Please spit that out in the garbage can just to the right of the front door. Believe it or not, gum in the rugs is one of our biggest problems right now. I don't know how that happens, but it does almost every day. Now, I do need to check your tickets, folks, so you have to have that 3:30 ticket out and in hand. Start looking around on your own. If you have any questions during this time, please feel free to ask. I'll attempt to answer them. After you guys look around for a little while, I'm going to talk to you in more detail as to how we hid the president's disability and how he got around this home. And then we're going to go up to the second floor in 2 groups. Once we go to that second floor, we exit from the second floor. So make sure you see everything on the first, and if I start talking a little too early for you, please continue to look around, all right? So have those tickets out, and please follow me inside.